about Kamala and the coconut stuff. Like, I'm the same guy, for better or for worse, with the same core convictions and the same approach and, I mean, the same format up until 2 months ago, the same green screen for almost a decade. And it's you, Candace, that is all over the place. Oh, I'm red pill black, and I'm a liberal, and now I'm a conservative, and now I'm Blexit, and now I'm at Daily Wire, and now I'm a Catholic, and now I'm an anti-Semite. No, I'm not. Now I'm not. Come on. Enough already. Enough already. I have Candace Owens fatigue. I was so excited about her seemingly telling the truth, and then she dumped a bunch of bullshit on it, and now I'm just, I'm tired, Candace. I'm tired. I'm really tired. I'm like all the black women. I'm tired. I'm tired. Just tell the truth. And that's honestly just like my core philosophy. You know, the world's a complicated place, and there's a lot of rules, and we all know there's things that we're not supposed to say. You gotta say them. You gotta say what's on your chest. You have to say what's on your mind. I don't believe in, you know, what everybody else does, which is this calculated deception. The people aren't ready to hear this, or, you know, the time isn't right to say this, or you're not allowed to say this. If I say this, this will happen to me. You gotta say how you feel. Even and especially when actually I think you feel it's a bad idea. Because if you're wrong, you'll figure it out quickly. And if you're right, well, then it's a good thing to be telling the truth. So I think honesty and transparency is the best policy, especially if you are, and I'm not talking about every person alive, because, you know, if you're like a regular guy and like working a regular job, you don't necessarily want to go on a political crusade in your workplace. But if you are a public personality talking about politics, I think you just absolutely have to be honest. And it's kind of becoming a big problem. I feel like there's so much weirdness going on, and it's getting very difficult to be like the only guy that's playing that way. Like, everybody is playing in a way where they're playing like super secret agents, and I'm playing this way where I'm just like the naive idealist. And it's getting harder and harder. The higher up the mountain that I go, it's getting more and more difficult to just be the honest guy, because it doesn't work so well when you're dealing with all these snakes. And that's kind of the vibe I get. I just want Candace to stop being a snake. I know that maybe there's a good person in her, but she acts like a snake, and I don't trust her. I don't trust her. And I kind of just want nothing to do with that. You know, I'm getting a really bad vibe. There were so many opportunities for her to do the right thing and to just not be a fucking fake. And the vibe I get, and you know, a lot of you guys may notice I am getting aggressive lately about a lot of people. And it's because of this kind of stuff, like with Lauren Chen and elsewhere. I don't trust any of these people. I trust myself. I trust you guys. I trust the kids. You know, because all my fans are kids. I trust people younger than me. I don't trust anybody older than me. I trust the kids, the hype beasts, you know, the gamers. I trust the Fortnite sweats, the Minecraft people, you know, because all my fans are younger than me. I trust you guys. I don't trust any of these people that have been in the game, because they all had to give something up to be in the game. And I don't play like that. I don't play like that. So I'm getting a real snake. What she said to Aiden Ross was such a snake-like thing to say. It's just like a typical bitchy, passive-aggressive. Well, you know, it's understandable why he got mad. First of all, bitch, I didn't get mad. Okay, I don't want to call her a bitch, but it's like, I didn't get mad That's just such a typical, that's such typical woman bullshit. Oh, he got mad. I didn't get mad. Okay, there was a concerted effort to destroy my life, and I doubled down. I leaned in. I didn't get mad. I don't get mad. I doubled down because it's a pretty good heuristic that if you get attacked for saying something, you're right. Especially if they're not attacking the substance of the point. So when I made my foray into the Israel topic, I was never given a logical rebuttal or one that made sense. So I doubled down. I didn't get mad. There's a big difference. And I point to anything I've said. I don't regret anything I've said in 8 years. None of it was, I don't think, all things considered, I said anything that was really out there. I mean, I've made jokes and, you know, I exaggerate from time to time, but it's been pretty remarkably straight, I think, for the most part. I don't think it's too crazy or too off the rails. I think it's pretty much right down the line in terms of a sensible critic of Jewish power. So she goes, well, he got mad and now he needs to grow up and figure out what he wants to do. It's just a bunch of passive aggressive bullshit and like such a dodge, trying to be diplomatic because she doesn't want heat from the Groypers, but at the same time, I mean, really not doing me any favors. She has to acknowledge it because I'm him. And she's going to give this drive-by, passive-aggressive, backhanded compliment. And to that, I just say, do better, Snake. Hey, Snake, say something fucking real. And, you know, here's something. I'm going to throw this out there. This is new. And, well, I don't know if I should. You know, it's so funny. She said to Aiden Ross, his discretion. That was really interesting, right? She said she admired my discretion because I didn't blow her cover when she talked to me. Even though when she talked to me, she was threatening to blow my cover. Because I was trying to get Milo away from Kanye. And I told her, I'm like, look, if we're going to do this, we got to do it in like a smart way. And she's like, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to say you're working with Milo and blah, blah. So, you know, it wasn't really reciprocal, right? But anyway, so she says, oh, my discretion. I don't know. Because, you know, behind the scenes, everyone's saying, why won't she talk to me? First, she said, well, YouTube won't let me. Bullshit. Privately, she's telling people something else. Hey, Candace, should I share that reason? And should I share why that's bullshit too? How do we want to play? We want to lie and be snakes? I could be a snake. I could be the worst snake of them all. I'm not. As you know, I'm actually a good person. You want to be a snake? We could be a snake. We could be in a den of snakes. She says, I can't do a show because I would get banned on YouTube. A lie, an excuse. Behind the scenes, she's coming up with some other excuse. Hey, Snake, should I share that reason? And should I share what I did for you and why that's also bullshit? Should I share how I don't even want to say more than that because that's not me. But should I share why that's a fake reason too? How about, let's just get some honesty. Why don't you tell everybody so I don't have to? Why don't you tell everybody, let's just start telling the truth so I don't have to? I just hate snakes. You know, yeah, I'm a hothead. I'm a dick. I know. But a snake, I am not. Okay, I did her a favor. I didn't blow her cover when we talked during Yay 24, and I'm not blowing her cover now, even though she's totally shafting me and insulting all of our intelligence by talking about Frankists and pulling this David Icke line and this conspicuous stuff going on. I imagine. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all of it. The whole thing makes me sick to my, all these people are such liars. It's just gross. You know, such a shame. You think it's so simple and easy getting into politics. Man, we just need people to tell the truth. Somebody gets into politics and I think really is a good guy, and then you just get treated like scum. So, how about a human being? I don't want to see Candace Owens, the boss bitch who's learned how to set plays because she's so smart. I want to see a real human being. I want to see a real human. You know? Are there any real human beings that care about our country? Is there anyone who's going to talk about the fact that Jews obviously control America and who's not saying it because they're some kind of a spy? Or doing it for some other reason? Please, like, I'm just looking for those people. I don't like it. I'm sick to my stomach of the whole deal. So I'll tell you one thing. I'm gonna keep on doing my thing. I don't care how big it is, how small it is. I don't care if it works or if it doesn't work. People can ridicule me. They can call me whatever they want. I will never compromise the integrity of this show. I'm never playing games, okay? It feels like every year or every other year, there is a fork in the road for me personally as a guy where I can make a decision where I'm gonna play the game and I'm gonna turn into a bullshitter and I'm gonna turn into one of them. I'm gonna turn into a snake. Or I could be the hothead, you know, he's an amateur, he'll never be whatever, and tell the truth. And I don't know, I didn't make it this far in the game and make all the sacrifices that I did and get treated like garbage and laughed at and screwed over and betrayed and so on so that I could sell out now and start being a snake with these other people. I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're a patriot, you know where to find me. If you're a real America First patriot, if you're a real Christian, if you're a real human being, you know where to find me. But I don't need to be, you know, I don't need these people. I don't need these other people that are, you know, suddenly here we are in 2024. They just figured out they're going to do the right thing and get out of their contract and start telling the truth about Jews. Yeah, actually, we were doing just fine without all that. Thanks, but no thanks. I just want some honesty, man. The phoniness is what kills me from these other people. I mean, I saw that response. It was so like, well, he needs to grow up. Okay, Candace. Okay. That's all I have to say to her at this point. Okay. He needs to figure out what he wants to do. Okay. I think you need to figure. What are we today, Candace? Are we a flat earther today? Are we a dinosaur denier? Or we're a dinosaur denier and a flat earther, but not a Holocaust denier. They're Jews, now they're Frankists, now they're this. Okay, I need to figure it out. Okay, Candace. Let's figure out what we're doing on the show today. Is it dinosaurs, flat earth, the CIA? What are we feeling like today? What are they? Are they filth today? Are they pedophiles? Or they're pretending to be? Or they're someone else? What are we today? What are we trying on today? Are we Blexit? Are we Red Pill Black? Are we Daily Wire? Are we with Yay? Are we down with Yay? Weren't down with Yay when Yay was being canceled, but 2 years later, now we're down with Yay. Okay. Yeah. I'm confused, though. I'm confused. I just get bothered because it's like, look, nobody asked you to go and be red pilled or whatever. People come into my domain and then they want to be me. You know, everybody wants to come into my domain and not like, look, I'm not like Ryan Dawson where it's like, hey, I'm red pilled longer than you or something. It's like if she came in and she didn't want to talk to me, but she was on message, it's like, okay, whatever. But it's clearly some nonsense. And I look at the whole spectacle of it and I'm like, just go the fuck away. You know, this whole spectacle of she blows up with Shapiro and now it's anything other than that. And this circus with Shmuley. It's like, come on now. Come on. Oh, you're being clever now. Give me a break. Oh, man. I'm too real. I keep it too real. It's not doing me any favors, but I keep it real. I keep it too real. How can one man be so real? Even the thing with like Dave Smith, that was so real of me, not to like break my arm patting myself on the back, but like the Dave Smith thing was so real. Everyone's, oh, Dave Smith, he's so smart. Finally, someone will talk about the Israel lobby. No one's ever talked about it before. He's so smart. And I just, I just throw it out there. I'm like, yeah, well, seems like a token Jew if you ask me. And everyone's like, you need to leave. How could you say that? I just throw it out there. This guy, if this guy had an approval rating, this guy would have like 100% approval rating. Everybody loves him. He's like a libertarian, but he's willing to lean into the edgier stuff. So he throws us a bone. He's got like 100% approval rating. Everybody loves him. He's like he doesn't attack anybody. He's like a nice guy. And I just had to do it to him. I had to go up there and say, yeah, token Jew. Everyone knows, everyone's thinking it. And how long did it take for him to talk about the Holocaust? Then he goes, the world's smallest violin you're playing from my ancestors, you should play for yourself when they call you an anti-Semite. How long did that take? Took him a week to get there. I'm an unstoppable force. I'm like Sonic the Hedgehog. I've decided I just no longer really... I don't know how much I really even support what Candace is doing anymore because she's muddying the waters. So, a lot of people are saying you are jealous that she's dealing in Dave Smith and not you. That's not the case. I've been very supportive of her, even though she has really not acknowledged me in any way, shape, or form. And people say, oh, you're picking a fight unnecessarily. They say it's about your ego. You're trying to make it about yourself. Well, look, I had no problem, no complaint. Until, one, she started getting a lot of the facts wrong, which really damages all of our credibility. Because you're already pushing a topic which is very taboo and very challenging for a lot of people to get behind. And it's very complex, and it's a very big issue. And so when you bring these arguments, you really need to know your stuff. And you can't expect perfection every time. But you really need to know what you're talking about. You can't go in half-cocked. Because if you go in half-cocked and you get a lot of stuff wrong, then people say, well, what else are they wrong about? Maybe the establishment is right. Maybe the institutions are right. And people don't talk about this for a reason, because it's wrong, because they're a bunch of cranks. So you really need to get it right. And so when she started to get a lot of this stuff wrong, she came out and said the Russian Revolution happened in the 80s. And she's calling them the Bolshevists, and she says that, she gets all the details wrong about that. And then she says Stalin was Jewish. Stalin was not Jewish. And then she says Ataturk was secretly Jewish. Ataturk was not secretly Jewish. And then, but I didn't say anything. I said, whatever. I said, oh, well, not everyone's perfect. I said, yeah, it's not really a good look, but, she's learning. I said she's going to get on the ball eventually. So I didn't say anything. I held my tongue, even though that was not really a good look, okay? You can't really go hard like that and stake the reputation of you and everybody on this and then, get it wrong really severely over and over. She's talking about, all this stuff that, like, it just doesn't even really make any sense. But then lately she's been saying this Frankist thing. And I'm going to put something out. I'm not sure exactly when, but I think it's going to be a big collaboration. We're going to talk about this Frankist lie. And the difference between me and her, one, I'm a really good researcher. Two, I really know what the fuck I'm talking about because I've been doing this a long time. It's one of the things you learn. I got a lot of baggage over the past 7 years. I've also learned a thing or two because I didn't get red-pilled yesterday. I didn't find out about the clean break report last week from the great historian Dave Smith. I've been around for 7 years, and yeah, I've been canceled, and I've been the subject of a lot of controversy, but I've also learned and discerned a lot of things, and I've done the homework, and so I actually happen to know all about that, and I know exactly where it comes from, and I know who's pushing it, and, we're going to unpack that, but, for our purposes now, let's just say it's not true. This lie that occultists took over the religions and they're making the good Jews go bad. It's just a lie. It's just one among many other lies that you've heard before all too often. There are European-style socialists. There's secular humanists that just happen to have Jewish last names. Jonathan Greenblatt is just a radical left-wing Jew, but the, pro-Zionist ones are close allies. You've heard it all before. And so now that she's pushing that, I gotta say, all right, time out. Yeah, that's not true. And not only is it not true, but it's totally taking away from the message. It's no longer just an inaccuracy. It's no longer a misquote. It's no longer a kooky theory or speculation like, Ataturk being a crypto Jew. Now it's just an outright red herring. Now it's just outright Pied Piper. People followed you because they thought you're a serious critic of the Jews in Israel, and now you're steering them away from that and saying, no, it's not Jews. No, it's not the Talmudists. No, it's not the Kabbalists. No, it's not. No, it's actually the Frankists. Well, that's false. And we all see what's going on. The implications of it being Jewish people is very troubling and very disturbing. And if you keep pushing on that, it gets you in a lot of trouble, a world of trouble. So now we're seeing the backtrack. Now this is the backtrack. She goes in really hard. Everybody supports her. And now she's walking it back. Well, you see, it's not really the Jews, it's the Frankists. Well, I'm not really anti-Semitic. Well, look, I'm going to host a debate between two Jewish people to showcase how not anti-Semitic I am. And it reinforces this idea that, we need Jews to tell us we're not anti-Semitic. What if Americans want to have a conversation about our rights and our sovereignty without agents of Israel crying about the Holocaust there to debate in our stead, in our place? I don't actually think it's productive to reinforce that expectation. I don't think it's productive to reinforce that assumption that we need two Holocaust survivors, two third-generation Holocaust survivors to duke it out about, with this circumscribed criticism of Israel or the current Israeli government. I don't know how. I think that's actually the last thing we need, is another debate between two Holocaust survivors about America. That's just me. So, we've heard it all before. We've seen it all before. But this is what happens. She went out there. She didn't deal in the expert. She didn't deal in the guy. She rips all my talking points. She doesn't deal me in. And then she makes all the rookie mistakes. She gets the facts wrong. She backtracks. She tries to appease this anti-Semitism label. Those are all like the most rookie mistakes ever. Yeah, if you haven't been red-pilled for all this time, you're not going to know that Frankism is a red herring, or the Khazar Mafia, or Millet being Malayski and related to Netanyahu. You're not going to know that. And you're not going to know necessarily not to backtrack. You're not going to know not to reinforce these things. But she wanted the spotlight. She didn't want the liability. She wanted to be she was coming for our thing. Trying to be an edgelord, And she thought that if she gave a couple of acknowledgments to the Groypers that, you know, she could get Classics Groyps to retweet her, but she doesn't have to give me the acknowledgement that is really deserved. And she thought she could be edgy and, you know, she could get the spotlight as the far right flank of the GOP. But, you know, it's just not working. It's not working. You can't have it both ways. I wish it went differently. It could have been so good. It could have been so good, you know. We could have done a big collaboration. She could have been and, you know, she didn't even have to acknowledge me publicly. I could have been giving her talking points or information behind the scenes. She was uninterested in that. You know, it could have been I think she could have been a really powerful voice. We could have built up a really great team. But it's just one thing after the other. And now I'm kind of out. So I unfollowed her on Twitter today. She never followed me back, by the way, which is, you know, just so typical. So I said, you know what, call me when you're ready. You know, Candace, when you're ready, give me a call. I'm waiting by the phone, waiting for your call, waiting for you to do the right thing. But until then, I'm out, you know. And for that reason, I'm out. I'm waiting for the call when you're ready to get serious. You tell me when you're serious about telling the truth about the Jews, not the Frankists. When you're serious about getting the facts right, when you're serious about building a real movement, and that involves the organic energy of the Groypers, when you're not afraid of the press and you don't have a Jewish producer, give me a call. We'll be waiting for you to join the right side of history. Until then, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's just more of the same bullshit. So, and people can call that divisive or infighting or whatever. Look, I had no problem. I was a team player. You know, I did favors and things like that. I was generous of my time. I think I took a lot of it on the chin. And, you know, this endless glazing of Dave Smith is just about the most ridiculous thing I've seen all week. And that's saying a lot. But then you start going and saying it's the Frankists. Yeah, you know, I question what even the value is anymore at that point. I don't even really understand what it's really all for. Steven Crowder said it's secular humanists with last names. Bill Whittle said it was the cultural Marxists and the Frankfurt School. Do we really need yet another iteration of that? Bill Whittle said in 2013, it was the Frankfurt School, the Institute for Social Research, that migrated to Columbia. They were Jewish communists, equally unwelcome in Hitler's Germany. He was saying that in 2013. Crowder was saying in 2019, oh, they're secular humanists. They just happen to have Jewish last names. Over the past year, we've had Finkelstein and Blumenthal and Greenwald say, Zionist, 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 but don't say Zog. Do we really need yet another iteration? It's the Frankists now. They're infiltrating everybody. Yeah, I don't know if really moving the ball down the field at that point. You know, when are we just going to have the real deal? When are we going to have the full loaf? The whole loaf. But yeah, I mean, look, you know, these people like Candace and Dave Smith, they're just not doing us any favors, you know? They're really not doing us any favors. This movement, which we fought so hard for, that's America first, that's explicit, we've taken the sacrifices to say the whole message. These people do nothing for us. They want the spotlight, they want to be edgy, but they don't want to tell the truth. They don't really want to take a hit. They don't want to take the sacrifice. They don't want to roll the dice. So you know what? They can have each other. They can push their light version
sent
of it.
$50. The Frankist stuff reminds me of all the 9/11 bullshit about fake planes. It basically gives everyone the ick about the whole subject matter.
Well, you know, one, it's wrong. Two, it's a form of backtracking. It's a way to affirm this old liberal consensus, which is like, hey, believe whatever you want, man. Everyone's the same, man. It's just people might have bad ideas. You know, you can have the wrong faith and you can be Jewish ethnically, but, you know, some of them just have the wrong idea and they've been tricked. So it's like affirming the liberal consensus. That's why it's less edgy and that's why it's walking it back rather than the troubling but truly groundbreaking idea that the world is filled with tribes and their gods and their attributes that all matter. You know, they're all distinct and significant and have significant implications. So that's the thing that she's running from. And the third thing, which is what you're talking about as the byproduct, you know, when you go out and say, no, I don't mean Jews. I mean Frankists. One, okay, like everyone knows you mean Jews. You're going to get called anti-Semitic anyway. But then it just muddies the water and obfuscates. And people go, what the fuck are you talking about? So it's kind of like this ass-saving, politically correct thing. You know, she thinks it's clever. It's really not. It's been done to death in every way you can think of. And it's not effective, and it's not even the truth. The whole Candace, even like with Malay, do you remember like shortly after she got red pilled, she tweets, for some reason I don't trust Malay, and everyone's like, why? Because he's like a Jewish Zionist. And she's like, no, he's one of these WEF guys. It's like, oh, really? Because he's a WEF guy? Give me a break.
Slavik Lukovic said
Cut the
$100.
shit.
Nick is all we got. Nick is all we need.
Thank you for the big super chat. No, I mean, look, we have a lot of people. We got Sneeko, and we got the Tates, and we got Dan Bilzerian, and we got Jake Shields and Keith Woods. We have a lot of people. We have a lot of good people. That's why we don't really need to beg people to be a part of our club. We have the energy. We have the momentum. Most importantly, we have the truth. We have righteousness. We don't need to open the door for anybody that says Israel some kind of way. You got to be on board with the message. And a lot of people are willing to go hard. Kanye's willing to go hard, put his money where his mouth is. Dan Bilzerian's going hard, money where his mouth is. Jake Shields, none of them have any trouble saying it's Jews. And they sacrificed a lot. So we have support. You know, yay. Dan Bilzerian, Jake Shields, Keith Woods. We have people that are smart, truthful, courageous, willing to sacrifice. You know, and then somebody comes along, like she's God's gift to anti-Semitism, and says, now I'm going to tell everybody what it's about. Now I'm going to tell everybody what it's about, and I'm the one that's doing it. And it's like, hang on, sweetheart. First of all, wrong century with the Russian Revolution. Hang on, sweetheart. Yeah, I think you're off by about 40 years. Okay, that's first of all. Only one of the most important events in world history. You're only off by the wrong century. That's first of all. Second of all, it's the Jews. Okay, I know, like, you got canceled for it. Let's just call it what it is. And third of all, if Kanye West could say it 2 years ago and lose the Gap deal and the Adidas deal and get his money frozen by Apple, who the fuck do you think you are? You can't say it's the Jews? So, you know, time to take our own side. Time to take our own side. At this point, it's like, look, if you're not right-wing, if you're not Catholic, and if you don't support the white right, and you're not talking about Jewish power explicitly and what it is and in its dimensions, I'm just not interested in it. I'm not interested in these liberal Jews who think that Israel's going too hard in Gaza. Not interested. I'm not interested really any longer in a lot of these like super left-wing non-whites that they're for mass immigration, but they don't like what's happening in Palestine. Not really interested in that anymore. I'm really not interested even in some of these Catholics. Some of these Catholics that are super trad, and maybe they talk about Jews, but they also say there's no such thing as a white genocide. There's no such thing as a white race. You know, we really need to look towards a package deal. We want our people, we want our nation, we want our God, and we want a traditional society. People, nation, God, traditions. Well, and none of those are negotiable. None of those are negotiable. American sovereignty is not negotiable. Jesus Christ is not negotiable. Our historic European ancestors are not negotiable. And tradition, perennial tradition. Male and female, God created them. Family, built on marriage. Order and stability, the kind of architecture and music that we pioneered. Like, none of this is negotiable. None of this is like a buffet. And, you know, from time to time, we can ally with different groups on a various basis. But the moment that they stop pushing on their respective issue, we really have nothing in common. So, you know, we can form posses from time to time with one group or another group, but we really got to keep the eye on the prize. We want a right-wing Christian American republic with a European majority and a European identity. And none of that is negotiable. So that's the doctrine. And you know what? If we have to have a smaller movement to say that, then so be it. If we have to be outside CPAC and we have to be outside the RNC to say that, so be it. Let everybody else make the compromises. I'm not a politician. I'm not very good at getting people to like me. I'm not very good at getting people to, I'm not very good at empathy and whatever. Let all those other people that are super clever, let all those other people that want to be liked, let all those other people that you want to make money and want to stay on YouTube, let them say less to more people. Someone needs to say the full message. Someone needs to be the guardian and the vanguard of the full message. Somebody needs to be the protector of the doctrine. Somebody that's objective and disagreeable, and somebody that's willing to fight and willing to stand alone. And yeah, I'm not going to win a popularity contest. And yeah, you know, a lot of people aren't going to get it and they're going to hate me, but somebody's got to do it. Because we have enough people telling half-truths. We have enough people making compromises. Enough people lying. That's what you're doing. Lying. Saying it's everything other than the Jews and every religion's fine, not just Catholicism. I mean, let them make the compromises. Then they can be elected, and you know what? They can have the glory. You know, they can be the whatever. But somebody needs to say, you know what? This is the doctrine, and you're either in or you're out. You know, and Frankism, not part of it. Frankism. You know, and this Dave Smith, this Holocaust survivor. Oh, look, a Jewish guy, a Jewish libertarian. Hey, man, I want to be left alone. You know, another Jewish libertarian throwing out, my parents perished in the Holocaust. Oh, we need a 10-part history series with him. He's a genius. And then, you know, and it's so beautiful. Okay, so good monologue over, good statesman-like monologue over. Now let's just engage in some shit talk here. You know, of course, I'm the only one that's going to call it out. I'm like, all right. So now Dave Smith, everyone's going to jag this guy off and pretend, you know, he's the second coming of the Messiah. He's the smartest man to ever lived. Let's all be honest. He's the token Jew. Can we just be honest? You know, he's a nice guy, smart guy. Okay, no one's taking that away from him. He's a pretty smart guy. He's a pretty nice guy. But he's a token Jew. He's the token Jew that they have brought around. I mean, who would ever heard of this guy up until... He was at the Libertarian Convention. But now suddenly they bring this guy around. Why? Because he's a vaguely right-wing Jew who's going to talk about the neocons. And he's going to give them cover. He's going to give them plausible deniability. He's going to shield them from accusations of anti-Semitism. How could you call this anti-Semitic? I'm having a discussion with a Jewish person about the neocons. And I say what everyone's thinking. Everyone's thinking it. Same with Finkelstein. Same with Blumenthal. Same with all of them. I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. And it was so delicious. He gets so defensive. I'm not there as a token Jew. I'm there because I'm really smart. I'm there because I'm really smart and people care what I have to say. Oh, really? Come on now. Come on now. I know it hurts your ego a little bit, but the only reason they're bringing you around... I mean, yeah, he's a nice guy. Look, he's competent. But the only reason they're bringing him around and jagging him off like they are, we're going to do a 10-part history series. You're invited to everything forever. Oh, you're so smart. It's because you're the token Jew. And so you're the attachment. You know, you're an attachment onto it because he's not saying anything particularly new or insight. You could, by the way, you want an expert on the neocons? Bring on Ryan Dawson. I don't even like him. And that just goes to show I'm not being petty here. You want the expert on the neocons? Bring on Ryan Dawson. You want the expert on the Israel lobby? Bring on John Mearsheimer. You want an expert? Bring on a nerd. Bring on Ron Oons. You know, and that guy's Jewish too, so it's not even about being Jewish. You want to bring on someone that knows what they're talking about, someone that's really smart? Ron Unz has a 300 IQ. No, but she brings on Dave Smith because he's a Jewish commentator that'll call the neocons Jews. Oh, and we got to promote this guy. So I say what everybody's thinking, which is I don't actually think we need another Jew to be a spokesperson for us anymore. I think that's the last thing we need is another Jew to be the while bitching about the Holocaust, to be our spokesperson. And he goes, I'm not trying to be that. Yeah, well, like always, yeah, they're never trying to be that. They just always wind up being that, though, right? When Jews run all the banks, we never tried to run all the banks. We just happened to because we're really smart. Sound familiar? That's what he tweeted. If you have a problem with me because I'm a Jew, you can fuck yourself. I'm here because I'm smart. I didn't try to be the leader of this. Yeah, well, isn't it convenient for you that even though other people have talked about it for years and have their lives destroyed, you've remained on YouTube and somehow stumbled into the spokesman role? Classic case of Jewish excellence, right? I don't know. I've listened to Dave Rubin's show. It wasn't the highest IQ thing I've ever heard. I'll tell you that for free. So anyway, and don't get me wrong, and listen, I know this is a really shitty thing to say, and I like him. He's a nice guy. He's funny, but I'm just calling it like it is. People say, what did he ever do to you? Well, look, I'm just telling it like it is. That's just how it is, and everyone knows it. No one wants to say it. But look, I'm just tired of white people or Gentiles being pushed out by Jews. Even in the conversation about Jewish overrepresentation, we're being pushed out by Jews. Even in the conversation about Jewish overrepresentation and power, we have to suffer a Jewish DEI pick to be the spokesman because we can't appear anti-Semitic. Do you know how messed up that is? And if I call it out, oh, I'm like a dick. Okay, well, I'll be the dick then. I'll be the dick then. I have no problem doing that. I suffered the same fate as Candace Owens when I was 18 because I called it out, before I was famous. And not a kind go fuck yourself from her or anybody. I got canceled. I got banned from YouTube. I get thrown in the mud. And she gets red pilled yesterday, and now it's a Jew that's going to be the knight in shining armor to tell us all about the neocons. Give me a break. No one will say that, though. No one has the balls to say that. I'll say it. Because you got to stick up for yourself. It's, once again, it's about taking our own side. I don't need a libertarian Jew to speak on behalf of us about how the neocons were Jewish. Okay? So, Dave Smith says, well, I don't need to be your spokesperson. Good. Then fuck off, because you're not. Dave Smith says, I'm not trying to be the red-pilled anything. I'm not trying to be the guy. Good. Then you can fuck off. We don't want you. We're not libertarians. We don't need people bitching about their ancestors perishing in the Holocaust. We don't need one more fucking story like that. I don't care about that shit. All these libertarians, he's such a punk rocker. I'm so irreverent. Oh, if you have a problem with me because I'm a Jew, you could go fuck yourself. Well, you know what? I kind of do. He goes, and I'm not trying to be the spokesman of anything. Good, because you're fucking not, and neither is Candace talking about Frankists. So I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it, because you're not. Nobody made you that. Nobody can make you that, because you're not. And if you care so much about the Holocaust, then go start another museum. I'm sick of hearing about it. Punk rocker. Oh, look, dude, I'm a libertarian. I'm just a libertarian. I'm a comedian. And then he's talking about my ancestors perishing in Auschwitz. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up about that. 100 million people died in World War II. I know that's a footnote. 6 million people and 100 million Goyim, and our race is being genocided right now, but we have to suffer a libertarian Jew bitching about the Holocaust to be our appointed leader by someone who won't even call it what What it is. Enough already. Enough already. We don't need that. We were doing just fine. This issue is gaining more momentum. Everyone's waking up. People know it's the truth. They can't get away from it. And now we have interlopers who have been the beneficiary of this for years, beneficiary of Turning Point USA and Daily Wire, while they apologize. And their bosses apologize for them, and they're going to come in shining armor on a white horse to save the day. Thanks, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. We're good. And that's what I have to say about that. But yeah, give us another elementary, half bullshit 101 introductory course on the Clean Break Report and the Russian Revolution of 1880. Yeah, thank you. Very illuminating. Very illuminating, very enlightening for everybody that was born yesterday. We've all moved on. You know, we've all moved on. You want to hear the red pills from 2020, from 2013, you can tune into that show. You want to hear a red pill from 2007, you can tune into the Dave Smith and Candace Owens show, and they'll tell you all about the Iraq War, right? If you want to hear the red pill now, about Jacob Siegel and Tablet Magazine and J.D. Vance and Urbit and Yarvin and Thiel and the digital currency and the neo-reactionaries. And if you want to hear about that, you can tune into the show that actually calls it what it is, and it's not a libertarian, and it's not a guy talking about the Holocaust. It's a guy talking about America and a guy talking about white genocide. And if you're looking for a more palatable alternative, then you can watch Dan Bilzerian, Andrew Tate, Jake Shields, Keith Woods, or any number of others. This sideshow, you know, they could go talk about flat Earth, you know, with the other base Jews. You know, and that all of that could have been avoided you know, but it's been many weeks. And I was a good sport, as I reminded you, and I was a team player. But the disrespect knows no bounds. The disrespect, just dishonor, hypocrisy, it just knows no bounds. You know, you would think that me, being somebody that was canceled by Shapiro and Daily Wire at age 18 for saying this 7 years ago and paving the way and taking all the slings and arrows, and I don't have a millionaire husband and I don't have bosses looking out for me and backers, you would think that Candace